All right, Nick, let's talk about the USC Trojans. This is a team I think on the upswing. We're seeing a really bright future. We've talked about a lot of the recruiting things they've done for the out years, even for this year, and this team is looking really, really special. But talking about the future, there's one piece in particular I think is starting to come into his own, looking really, really nice. I think it's going to spell out really good stuff for the future of this Trojans team. We'll dive into all of that here in just 1 second. But first, I'm Andrew. That's Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, one guy in particular really starting to look good. We're talking about the quarterback position. Of course, everyone knows Maava, as of right now, from what Lincoln Riley has been saying, is going to be the starter at quarterback for this season. But looking into the out years, Hassan Longstreet, the impressive freshman, highly touted, highly recruited guy, has come in and he's starting to impress and look very good early on in this fall or training camp period, whatever you want to call it. But let's jump into the article and talk more about all of this on the other side. So this is from SI.com. It says Trojans quarterback Luke Horde, QB coach Luke Horde, recently spoke to the media and he was asked about the Longstreet's progress in fall camp. He said just the way he's attacked these first 5 practices has been awesome. I think it's a good thing too. He's shown just a really, really good ability to overcome adverse situations and play through some tough plays, bounce right back, go out there, respond, and execute. Love to hear that. So there's been a lot of things to be excited about with him. Longstreet does a really good job interacting. I think for him being a young quarterback, one area that he's really well ahead of the game is just the communication standpoint. Said here, because obviously a quarterback, our number one is to relay the play to the offense and make sure those guys feel out confidence. And I feel like he's really, really taken some giant steps in that direction. So I think this is all really good news. Hearing about the quarterback position, we all know Longstreet was a supremely gifted athlete coming out of high school. He had all the physical tools. He's going to come in and, he had the size, he had the arm strength, he had all of the capabilities for being such a highly touted recruit. But can he come in and start to build those leadership traits? And it sounds like he has, and he's really showing to be an impressive potential future quarterback for this Trojans team. And I think that's really important because over the last couple of seasons, the Trojans really they haven't had a strong succession plan at quarterback. I feel like they've been scrambling, bouncing, jumping back around for quarterbacks, and it hasn't really suited them well. So before we dive into all of that, let's look at just the EPA of the quarterback. So the expected points average at the quarterback position for the Trojans and what it's looked like this past year, and then look at all of the last couple of years as well, just to give ourselves a better picture here. So first up, this is from this past season, and you can see the Trojans are kind of smack dab in the middle, a little below average as far as their wins, a little below average as far as their EPA. It's just a team that they did all right. Last season wasn't horrible, but you want to see more. You want to see if Lincoln Riley is this quarterback guru, if the offense is supposed to be firing on all cylinders. You want to see your quarterback come in and really give more value than he was last year. And you can see that based at the top of the chart. You see the 2-3 teams up there that are really high up on the chart. Notre Dame at the top, Ohio State at the top, Oregon at the top. Those are all national championship caliber teams. Obviously, 2 teams that are in a national championship are up there as well. They're both high up on the wins, and they're above the average line as far as what they're able to get in QB EPA. But let's look back the last couple of seasons and see if the trend is any different or if it aligns as well. And we see from 2022 to 2024, the Trojans actually have fallen off significantly. And this is even years that Caleb Williams has been involved as well. There's probably higher expectations with Williams, but the Trojans fall down the wins department very low. And honestly, their QB EPA is very, very low. They're well below average here. And you can see just some of the other teams highlighted above, obviously in the top right-hand corner, Ohio State, Georgia, teams that have been national championship contenders multiple years. That's where you want to be if you're the Trojans, not on the other end of the graph. So we can see here they've kind of underperformed, and it leads me to my overarching point here of what Longstreet will bring to this program is quarterback stability and good quarterback play over multiple years. Because if we look at what the Trojans had the last couple of years, You had Miller Moss and Jaden Maiava basically splitting a season, not much consistency there. You had Caleb Williams for 2 seasons. You had Kedon Slovis kind of splitting games with Jackson Dart, splitting games with JT Daniels and Matt Fink the last couple of seasons as well. This is just a team that has been back and forth. JT Daniels splitting games with Jack Sears, all the way back to Sam Darnold. The last time they really had any consistency at the quarterback position and really had good records and a good amount of wins. And that was when USC was at their best. And USC fans probably remember this because if you go back over the last few years, going from 2018 to 2024, those were the years with a lot of inconsistency. We go back the last few years, 2 years with Sam Darnold, consistency, great quarterback play. 3 years with Cody Kessler, consistent quarterback play. 4 years with Matt Barkley, consistent quarterback play. 2 years with Mark Sanchez, 4 years with Matt Leinart, and then 5 years with Carson Palmer. A lot of consistency, a lot of great play at quarterback for multiple years to really help the team get into a rhythm here. And I think that's what's important. Having a guy like Hassan Longstreet really starting to come up the ranks, showing that he's going to be good for the next few years for this Trojans team and becoming a leader already. I think it's going to show this team's at least going to have 2 years of consistent quarterback play, if not one more for Hassan Longstreet. I think there's good signs for the future here. And this team is really looking bright. I'm excited about what we're going to see, and I want to see how this training camp falls out and what we see come the first game of the season. Curious what your thoughts are on all this, Nick. But before we get to you, Trojans fans, in the comment section below, I just named a bunch of quarterbacks, a lot of years of great quarterback play for the Trojans. So I'm going to ask you an interesting question here. Who's your favorite Trojans quarterback of all time? There's a lot of really good names on this list, a lot of guys that did some impressive stuff. So let us know in the comment section below, who's your favorite Trojans quarterback of all time? Leave it in the comment section below. But enough from me, Nick. What are your thoughts on everything here for USC?
So I think this is going to be the most critical part of their turnaround. I know we talked about Lincoln Riley and what he's done in terms of hiring assistants, bringing in Bowden, working with him, the recruiting wins, like you mentioned, and all of that great job, delegating, being a leader, taking on the CEO role of a major, I say it's a professional, but that's essentially what it is. I know it's a college, but USC, like Alabama, like Ohio State, like Georgia, like Texas, they're basically NFL franchises that play college football with the branding and the dollars behind it and all of that. But the most important part of this entire turnaround, this next phase of USC, Lincoln Riley era, is going to be defined on what he does in terms of developing the next great USC Trojans quarterback, right? And that's what he was brought in to do, right? Obviously, bringing Caleb Williams with him was a big part of it. But one of the big things that people were waiting for when they brought Lincoln Riley into the fold is let's bring back the era of Carson Palmer. Let's bring back the era of Matt Leinart when we were really, really good at quarterback. Even the Sam Darnold era, I think he led the country, was close to the top of the country in interceptions his final season there with USC. So as much as he was physically gifted and had flashes of greatness, he wasn't exactly hyper consistent, certainly not his final season with the Trojans. So I look at Lincoln Riley and say, all right, man, this is what you're brought in to do, right? You've got a good young quarterback, a great recruit, great prospect. How do you and your staff develop and prepare him to be, like you said, the long-term multi-year answer at the quarterback position? Because if we look at what they've done in the recruiting department, you look at what they've done in terms of the organizational department, bringing in the right assistants, making some changes on defense, it's all really good. It's all trending in the right direction. We talked about it a lot this offseason. But like we've mentioned in every single one of the recruiting stories, on the defense, defensive line, secondary linebackers, organizational changes, whatever it was, we said, you know what, all of this is great, but it in the end comes down to Lincoln Riley and the quarterback position. You brought him into Los Angeles, you brought him to USC for the specific position. That's why. That's it. Push comes to shove, right? You bring in some coaches to be culture changes. You bring in some coaches for recruiting. You bring in some coaches just to win the headlines. Lincoln Riley was brought into USC for the quarterback position. It had been too long since the Trojans had been consistently at the top of the football world in terms of that position. There was a period, like I mentioned before, Palmer, Leinart, they were among the best, even Mark Sanchez. Heck, their backups, look at Matt Castle, backup quarterback, went on to have NFL careers. It was QBU for a better part of a decade there in Los Angeles, right? But that era, of course, is long gone. Lincoln Riley was brought in to bring that back to the 21st century, to bring it back to what the USC Trojan fans have been waiting for. So all of this to say, just all this context, and you Trojans fans, you know everything I'm talking about. I'm just repeating stuff you already know. But the reality is, this is it, right? Whether it's Longstreet or maybe he picks up another freshman along the way in the process, This is how Lincoln Riley will be defined. Can he and his staff develop this young quarterback? The fact that he's off to a good start and doing some good things, and they're trying to integrate him into the offense, and they think the future is very bright, that's a good sign. That's all positive, and that's something to really keep an eye on. I know people, as we work through fall camp, are going to look at other freshmen, look at new transfers, look at this defense, all of that kind of stuff, and just figure out what's going to happen this season, what's going to happen in week one, what's going to happen in 2025. Are they going to do a lot better in terms of wins and loss column? Are they going to be better defensively? And that all matters, and that's all important. But if you want to figure out the long-term trajectory of this USC program, and by long-term, I mean 2026, 2027 timeframe, going back to competing for national titles, Hassan Longstreet, Lincoln Riley, Heward, quarterback development, that's what matters. That is frankly it, folks, because we think all the hires they made, all the moves they made on the other parts, they're good enough, right? They brought the right coaches in. They've done the right recruiting moves. Bowden as a GM, they've done everything they need to do with everything else. Now it's on Riley and his staff handling the quarterback position. It's off to a good start so far, but definitely something to watch, not just in the coming weeks, but the coming months as we look at the future of this position and tying it to the future of Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, Nick, and I think what you say is absolutely true. This Trojan team, they've got everything done. And it, to me, it sounds like there's no excuses left for Lincoln Riley as far as he's really taken all the pressure off of himself to he's put the pressure on himself, but he's taken the pressure as far as defense and things like that, delegated to the right people. Those guys have been successful. We've seen the play on the field get progressively a little bit better. We've seen the recruiting get a lot better in those departments. We've seen a lot of resources allocated there. Now I think the pressure's off of Riley for that aspect, but it's on him to be hyper focused. You have to get the quarterback position right. You have to go in and really just knock it out of the park. Give us a guy. Understand, Mayava could be great. They could have a fantastic season. Who knows? But this is the guy. We got you the 5-star quarterback in Hassan Longstreet. The guy is one of the top quarterbacks in the country, top 4 quarterbacks in the country, I believe, at that position. So this is a guy that can be the future of this team. You got to get him there. That's what we brought you here to do, just like you said. So I think he can do it. I really do. We've seen him do it before. It's not like this is a one and done type of guy where he had one successful quarterback and, the rest is history. No, this is a guy who has sustained success. He's done it multiple times. I believe in Lincoln Riley's ability to develop the quarterback position. I think getting his head out of being the defense or having to get anything done with that is really good. So he's about to focus on this, and we're already seeing, a little bit of proofs in the pudding. We're hearing good things in camp. He's showing leadership ability, showing strong, forget it, move on to the next play type stuff. The good things you want to hear about a young quarterback. So good news for the Trojans. Good news for Lincoln Riley. Got to see the play on the field. We got to see it come to fruition. But I think this team is on the right path, and it's about time to start getting excited about what is going on for the Trojans.